Welcome to your community. This is your hometown. This is Walton Entertainment. This is where you can hear from the community and those making a difference. We explore topics, local festivals, arts and entertainment, and local news. For this program and much more, visit us online at yourlocalstream.com. That's yourlocalstream.com.
Good morning. Thank you for watching. I'm Dina Huff, the Executive Director for the Partnership for Families, Children, and Youth. And today my special guest is Carrie Bailey with Piedmont Walton. And we're going to discuss a couple of things. We're going to get to Piedmont Walton events, but first we want to talk about an event that we're kind of doing together along with some other community members. So we're having a health fair, and we want to tell you all about the health fair, what to expect. Just tell us a little bit about the health fair that we're going to be doing together.
Sure. So the Loganville Community Health Fair is going to be held on Saturday, April the 18th from 10 in the morning until 2 p.m. It's at the Loganville United Methodist Church, hosted by a variety of local organizations, but put on in conjunction with the Walton County Healthcare Foundation. And so there will be over 50 health and wellness related booths. We are gearing this towards anyone who wants to learn a little bit about health and wellness, where to find services. There's going to be lots of children's activities. We've got free ice cream. There'll also be breakout sessions and guest speakers related to health and wellness, mental health, folks that are learning how to do Narcan training. We've got a OBGYN from the Loganville area, Dr. Gamble Webb, who will be talking about maternal health and wellness, and all kinds of resources and giveaways that day.
Oh, nice. I think also the Social Security, someone from the Social Security office will be there to answer questions that folks may have. As far as the kids' activities,
So my understanding is we've got touch-a-truck type activities available for the children. There'll also be some jumpies, some blow-ups, and again, the ice cream. And then also there's a large outdoor playground there at the church that I think that they are looking for some volunteers to kind of man the children's area. So that's all in the works, and everything is really starting to come together with this project. So
you don't have to be from Loganville to attend this. If you're from Monroe, we encourage you, if you can get to Loganville, to attend this event. It's from 10 until 2.
10 until 2. The actual address is 221 Main Street in Loganville, which is the Loganville First United Methodist Church. It will be in the gym area, and then outdoors. Lots of opportunities, lots of community partners and nonprofits will be there sharing health and wellness related information.
Okay, so just show up with your family, and
there'll also be some free haircuts available, my understanding.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Guest speakers, all kinds of resources, free giveaways.
So this is actually the first
ever Loganville Community Health Fair. And there is a website for this. It is loganvillehealthfair.org. So you should be able to find a list of the vendors who will be present. And I believe that there might still be time to sign up to participate in the event. So loganvillehealthfair.org is where you can find additional information. Shannon Singleton and Dan Curry have been two really main driving forces of this event, and have put together a lot of the information. And so we're really excited to kind of see this come to fruition and see how our first ever Loganville Community Health Fair is going to go.
Awesome, awesome. So you're all invited. So we hope to see you on April 18th. So let's switch gears a minute to
Sure.
Piedmont Walton. What's
Okay.
going on at the hospital?
Well, we've got all kinds of stuff going on at the hospital, obviously. We do have our emergency department expansion is kind of in the works now, so we'll be doubling the size of our emergency department. But we do have 2 community classes coming up that I thought that I would kind of share with everybody. Our trauma department is going to be hosting Stop the Bleed training, and that is through the American College of Surgeons. It's a great opportunity. It's really a way to save lives in an emergency. So you learn how to kind of apply pressure and what to do until services can arrive and kind of take things over. But those classes are going to be held on Tuesday, April the 21st at the hospital in our medical office building classroom, which is Suite 100. Those are offered at 10, 1, and 3 on April the 21st. You can sign up through a Sign Up Genius link. You are welcome to contact me at the office to get that information. We do have flyers out and around town, but that's a great opportunity. There should be probably 12 to 15 slots available for each of those time frames. I think the class is probably hour and a half long, but it is really a huge way to be able to save a life in case of emergency before emergency personnel can arrive. The other thing that we've got going with our partnership with the YMCA, we are going to be hosting a Matter of Balance classes. We've done this with the Walton County Senior Center and the Loganville Senior Center, so we've already done classes twice in the area. This one is the same thing. It's going to be held at the YMCA, but open to the community. It will be Tuesdays from 12 to 1:30 beginning April 28th. It's an 8-week program. So it's 8 Tuesdays in a row, April 28th through June 16th on Tuesdays, 12 to 1:30 at the Walton County YMCA. I think there's about 15 spots available for that, YMCA members and community members. But it is a great way to learn about, how to not fall prevention, which is huge for our senior adults. You'll learn how to view falls as controllable, set goals for increasing stability. You're going to, it's a whole workbook full of things and activities and exercises, including a little bit of homework to go home and kind of investigate your house. What poses threats to you inside of your home, how to look at those things. But as far as who should attend, it says anyone concerned about falls, anyone interested in improving balance, flexibility, and strength, anyone who has fallen in the past, or anyone who has restricted activities because of falling concerns. So it's a great opportunity to kind of learn how to kind of shift your thought process, how to make changes in your daily life and inside your home to prevent falls and any kind of issues.
Is there a cost associated?
There is no cost associated with either of these opportunities that we're hosting. And so it's, again, a great opportunity. That is also through a sign-up link. I would love for you to call Piedmont Walton to get more information or email me directly. I can put you in charge, in contact with who you need to be in touch with and send you the link. My email address at the hospital is carrie.bailey@piedmont.org. And so I would love to have folks sign up to join us for either of those classes coming up.
That sounds great. Yeah, and I'm real excited about the expansion on the emergency room too.
Yes, absolutely. So it'll double the size. We currently have 15 beds. Often we are so overrun that we've got
Yeah.
folks
Yeah.
in the hall. We're treating folks, in the waiting room if it's low acuity patients. So this will give us a lot more flexibility and opportunity to get people the care that they need.
Yeah, and I know oftentimes when people are ill and sick or whatnot, patience is not always there. So hopefully this will help with
Absolutely.
some of the anxiety issues that folks may have when they come to the ER and have to wait and be put in the hall. And so this expansion sounds great.
And we're excited.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for joining
course,
me today.
yes,
And
thank
we
you
do
for
have a
having me.
lot of great things going on in the county. I know there are several other things going on that and we also have collaborative meetings the third Tuesday of each month, and we're actually hosting that here at the Board of Ed Annex building. And our guest speaker will be Craig from the Walton County School District talking about the AWARE grant. So we hope you can join us, and that's at 8 a.m. And anyone can attend those meetings. We would love to have you. We have just a very light breakfast to offer. And those are at, again, 8 a.m. here at the Board of Ed Annex. If you ever have any questions for us here at the partnership, my direct line is 770-207-3175. Thank you for watching, and thank you for joining me today,
Absolutely.
Carrie.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Jody Johnson. I'm here with another recreation report. Happy to say that spring has sprung and we right here around Easter time, so we hope everyone enjoys that season. Remember the season that we're in. Our spring sports have all begun, and now that spring break is here, we'll take about a week off and kind of regroup, see some of the things that we might can improve upon, and work on those this week, and then get started with the second half of our all of our spring season, and hopefully everybody's having a great time with our baseball and softball, our track and field, and our soccer programs are all doing well, and we'll hope to see you right after spring break if you're near one of our ballparks every Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and some of the Saturdays are filled with a lot of youth sports. It's a great thing to go and watch, and if you're looking for to volunteer as a coach, we're always needing that. We're about to start our summer and some of our fall registrations for all of our sports programs. Our football and cheerleading and our summer volleyball and our summer basketball is registering right now. Starting around May 2nd through the May 15th, all of our fall sports registrations will happen, which is our continues our football and cheerleading, our soccer, our fall baseball and softball, and our cross country will all happen around May 2nd to May 15th. So hopefully you can get online and get registered. Fall is always our busiest time of the year for our sports programs, because we have so many different activities going on. We did open up our amphitheater with the Sandy Creek Band. We had about close to 400 people show up, and just a few minor hiccups. I think it was a great place for a concert. So it was kind of a soft opening to us to work out all the issues that we may or may not have, and we found that it sounds very good. The bowl area is a great place to watch a concert. The sound is really good down in there. We've got some state-of-the-art lights that go off that we can color the lights out on the lawn area. So it was pretty cool to experience all of that. So we've got some bigger concerts coming up. I know around June 19th, we've got someone that has leased the property, and we'll be putting on a fairly large concert. I'm not certain of who the band is, but I do know that it's going to be it's one of those that 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 people could be attending, is what they're anticipating for that. We also have the Relay for Life coming up on April 25th, so that'll be a big event out at the amphitheater. Again, on September 11th, we're going to have a large concert out there on that date as well. And then, of course, the 250-year celebration coming up. I know all the cities in the county have gotten together and have been planning that out for the entire week. So look forward to that. And there is going to be a website with Walton County 250 on it that the Development Authority has put out. I know we're going to kind of culminate the event with a free concert with a couple bands that we have contracted with that will be playing out at the amphitheater on July 3rd. So that'll start around 6, 7 o'clock and last from then till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. So we look forward to having you on July 3rd at the Grove. Not going to have fireworks there. I think the city of Monroe and the city of Loganville are both doing fireworks, so we'll leave that with them on their respective days. But we will have some vendors and then the concert out there on July 3rd, and that is free for everybody that would like to attend that. A lot of activity going on, some construction here and there. We are adding to our parking lot at the Grove. I know that was one major complaint we had. We had the standard number of parking places, but we have more people coming and attending and want to watch the games, which is a great problem to have. So we're expanding that parking lot just to get people closer, so they don't have to park so far away and walk. We know we have a lot of grandmothers and grandfathers that need to be parked a little closer. So we're adding to that. So hopefully by the end of spring break, beginning of the season out at the Grove, we'll have an additional parking lot. Plus for all these larger events, we need the additional overflow parking as well. So we're continuing to look and listen and react to some of the issues we may have at our parks program. Again, we're here to serve, and we do care, and we want to provide the best opportunities for you. This is the time that everybody wants to rent the pavilions and whatnot, so please go by our community centers and pick out your date, your birthday party, your reunions and whatnot, because a lot of those pavilions will book up extremely fast, and they're very affordable to do so. Our splash pad will be opening up about the middle of May. Once the weather gets plenty warm, we're now going through and fixing it up and getting it all cleaned up. Everybody knows we're fighting this pollen, trying to keep everything clean, but that will pass pretty soon, and we'll have some great weather for everybody to come back out to the splash pad again this year. I think this will be our 6th year with that splash pad. It seems to be increasing every year with the number of people that want to go out and play at the splash pad and get wet and have fun. So again, thanks for all you do in Walton County, and please come visit our parks. We hope to see you soon. Thanks a lot.
Hey, this is Isaac with Reboot, giving you the Reboot Tech Tip. I'm going to talk a little bit about security. I think the biggest thing these days is people are getting in trouble with email. And the email thing is it's a tough thing to keep secure, just because anybody with an email address can send you an email. And it can have a link in there that you can click on, and then it'll just give you a virus. And you don't even know that you've got the virus, because it's not like anything will tell you. And a lot of times these days they've designed these viruses to get on your computer without your antivirus knowing it. So there are a few things you can do, a handful of things. So one of the biggest things is, if you don't know that person, don't open the email. Or if I tell people a lot. So let's say you even get an email from what looks like somebody you know, but it just looks strange. Like it has a weird subject, or spelling isn't done correctly, or something like that. Generally, most of the time, actually, if you've got something like that going on in your head, it's probably a bad email. It's probably what's called a phishing email, where somebody's trying to get either get information from you or load a virus on your computer so they can get information from you, or it could be some scammer, trying to suck you into some crazy scam. We deal with it a lot, and we get a lot of customers from the bank that they send our way also. Just people getting into people's bank accounts, or like you'll get on the phone with somebody and they want to get onto your computer. That's a huge no-no. Do not let people on your computer. Don't do it unless you know them. Like some local person, or like I can't even think of. Maybe like if you have a Dell computer and you actually call Dell and they want to log in and help you, but most places these days, they actually don't do that. Like they'll direct you how to do it, just because of this whole security issue and scammer thing. It's a huge deal. So one of the things you can do to help with the email thing is there's a company called Bitdefender, and they make an antivirus that actually scans all your email now, which is nice. I won't say it's 100% effective because nothing is. But a lot of what they do is they scan it and they tell you if it's safe or not, and also they'll put the ones that they're not sure about into a folder in your email, or you can log into your antivirus and check some of those and see why they think it's not a good email, stuff like that, which I think is great because this email thing is a nightmare. And so again, that company's called Bitdefender. It's an antivirus company, and then you have to look for because they sell several different kind of antiviruses, but you have to look for the one that'll actually scan your email. And I've seen it work. It actually, from what I can tell, it does a pretty good job. I have seen where maybe they don't want to do all, like they'll do kind of what's called a false positive, where they might catch an email that doesn't really need to be set to the side or whatever, but again, they'll send you a notification or whatever, and you can look at that email and determine yourself. So it's a great feature. But the other thing is if it's an email about paying money or you owe money or something like that, anything financial, any email financial, I always tell people double check it. Call whoever's sending you the email, call the bank, or there was a big one with the post office, call the post office, or there was a big one with PayPal. If you're not sure about the PayPal, look on your PayPal account. If you don't have a PayPal account, it's obviously a scam, So just double check your stuff, especially anything doing with money, and especially anything giving money to someone on the phone. That's a huge issue. So just be safe. If you're not sure, ask somebody. If you're not sure, call us or bring your computer down here, let us look at it, or whatever the case may be. One other thing I'll say real quick too is if you do let someone on your computer and then they're asking for money and all this stuff, if you have let somebody on your computer, take your computer to somebody, take it to us or somebody you trust or whatever, let them scan it, because 99% of the time, if you've let somebody on your computer, they have loaded something on there that you do not want on there, something that either get info from you or get money from you. We see that a lot, and so you need somebody to look at it. But anyway, Isaac with Reboot, giving you the Reboot tech tip. In Monroe, we have moved down the street. We're at 1215 South Broad. Come by and see us. Thanks.
As you can see, there's a good turnout here in Winder, Georgia. It's 8:15 in the morning for Rick Jackson to hear what he's got to say. So we're here at the Golden Corral in Winder. There is a really good turnout here for the breakfast at Golden Corral here in Winder. Just to show you, give you a shot of the people here.
Neighbors, thank you for joining us here this morning at the Golden Corral. I am honored to introduce a leader who listens to everyday Georgians and shows up to do the work, Rick Jackson. Barrow County and surrounding residents are all resident-heavy communities. Families who live here raise their kids here and keep our neighborhoods and small businesses thriving. Rick understands that our strengths deserve to be seen. He will make sure companies looking to invest in Georgia know about this region of our state and our ready workforce, our strong schools, and our welcoming quality of life. He also understands the real impact of unfunded mandates being passed down to our citizens. As a corporate leader in healthcare, Rick saw firsthand how policies like those under Obamacare strained providers and shifted costs onto our communities. That experience taught him the importance of stopping unfunded mandates before they hurt local budgets, schools, and families. Rick is a businessman who has led organizations, balanced budgets, and delivered results. Most importantly, he came here in person to meet with us, something no other candidate running for governor has done. That willingness to show up and listen is the kind of leadership that us as Georgians deserve. Please join me in giving a warm Barrow County welcome to Mr. Rick Jackson.
Well, thank you so much. I didn't know that many people would get up for breakfast and do a meeting like this. So there's three very special guests here. One came all the way from the North Pole, Santa Claus. And then I just now got surprised. My foster sister and my foster brother are here. They're gonna make me cry. Well, first of all, I like to do more Q&A because I'm actually more interested in what you have to think about and what your concerns are and so forth. So I'll give a few brief remarks, but basically just tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm running. The why, in fact, I would imagine my foster family wants to know why. But anyway, well, first of all, just a little bit about myself and then why I'm doing it. My father left me when I was 9 months old. My mother was a 6th grade educated waitress that was an alcoholic. She was the kind of alcoholic that, can everybody hear okay? Okay. Just want to make sure, okay. She was kind of alcoholic that I never saw her drink that she didn't pass out. All of us deal with alcoholism in different phases and so forth like that. But she was the sweetest person in the world when she was not drinking. She was a very mean, abusive person that had no idea what she was doing when that happened. So I went to, before I was 12 years old, I had 7 stepfathers. And then eventually I ran away when I was 12 or 13 and to go into the foster care system. I was able to, from that time I went to 8 different elementary schools, 5 different high schools and so forth. But I met a great Christian foster family that made a difference, and I'll tell you a little bit about that when it gets started. So just from a business standpoint, I won't give you the long story. The first half of my career, well, first of all, after I aged out of foster care, I couldn't afford to go to college. I got married at 19, bought a trailer, and then took a couple of jobs. But when I was 20 years old, they wouldn't hire me because I didn't have a degree. So I went on this interview for a personnel business and asked them, would they hire me? And they said, well, after they were nice to me, they said they don't hire people without degrees. And I said, well, how much would somebody make if they had a degree? And they said, well, $1,100 a month and 33 to 50% commission based off of a certain level. And I said, well, what if I would work for 33% and no money per month? Would you give me a chance? And they said yes. 1 year to the date of that interview, I bought that little personnel company, and I was 21. And thank you. So when you grow up in the projects and have to sell peanuts and popcorn and Cracker Jacks and bag groceries and then scalp tickets, that's where I learned how to sell on scalping tickets. And I have been asked, was that illegal? And I said, I don't remember. But actually it wasn't back then, as long as you didn't sell it for more than, and I didn't learn that until later on. So then the first half of my career, I had more failures than you'll ever meet somebody. You'll never meet somebody that's failed more than me. But I always felt like that the definition of success is to get up one more time than you fall down. So I was a serial entrepreneur in all of healthcare the first half of my career, from buying hospitals to surgery centers to medical practices all over the country and so forth like that. Even took a company public in 1992. But then when the Clintons came in, it really messed up healthcare because people were concerned about what was going to happen. So the whole industry just got turned upside down. But in 1996, I had to come back into the public company. Our CEO sold off our largest division and the people didn't pay us. So I had to come in 1996 to take the company to Chapter 11. It took me 4 long years, and as I say, I think God was needing 4 years to get my attention. But it was the most successful bankruptcy in probably Georgia history, because we paid 110 cents on the dollar to every unsecured creditor. Everybody got paid, and even some equity went back. But when I started over, I made some fundamental decisions. I've never blamed anybody else for my failure, ever, because I can't allow somebody else to have control over my life like that. And I'll take ownership for any failure. And so looking at my first half of the career, I made 3 fundamental decisions that lead up to today, what you see. Number one, that I read everything by Buffett, and I wanted to do the long-term hold was the number one, and the value of keeping something for a longer period of time, because I had started, build, and flip businesses, and then they make 3x off of it in 2 years, and I fell down by doing that. Second thing was stick to the knitting. One of the curses of a serial entrepreneur is that we like to do things we don't know how to do, and new things, and create things that had never been done, and so forth. So if I was going to be successful the next half of my life, I needed to focus on what I was good at, and that was in the staffing industry at that time. And the third and most difficult financial decision I made was that I would never have outside investors in the company again. When you have no money, you got to have, in your business, you have to have outside money and equity and so forth. But to me, it just didn't feel like that was the best thing for me. So roll forward in 2000, when we made that decision and started over, we were at 25 million revenue. Last year we hit $3 billion, and we still have no outside investors, so we've been really blessed. But let me tell you what my view of money is. In 2007, in 2008, I did a lot of looking at in my own life and so forth, and I made fundamental decisions that you need to understand, because this leads into the why later on. Number one, that the money I've been given is not my money, it's God's money. That was a decision I made. Number two, thank you, I appreciate it. Number two, that you asked a question, I call it halftime back then, ask a question of how much is enough. And then in 2008, I drew the finish line, meaning everything above that amount, I was giving away 100% of my money. Since 2008, that's what I've been doing, is trying to give away, and God is blessing me faster than I can give it away. So, but from my standpoint, I really look at it that way. I knew I had made the decision, I had gotten there. As a child, I don't have, because of my background, I don't have to control anybody else, ever. Actually, I don't need to control it, but I do need to control me. And I learned that in the projects you're taught that rich people are evil. But the church buses came to me, and that's what saved me literally, physically, and spiritually, because I saw people that had cars, they were married, husband and wife, and at church back then in the 60s, everything looked like Leave It to Beaver. If y'all remember some of those, everybody, life was perfect. I associated being good and religious with richness. And so from my standpoint, I just have to have control of me. And so in 2008, y'all remember what happened back then. So I had sold a business in 2006 and put money at Goldman Sachs, and the stock market went down, and I lost millions of dollars in 1 week. And I remember my response was, God, I'm sorry you lost money. If there's anything I can do, let me know. I just went home and slept, and I knew I had made the transition at that point in time. So let me tell you, on the business side, I have dealt with the Trump administration on several things, and I have been amazed, especially in this term, of the business decisions that are not covered. They're not covered in the press, okay? It's amazing to me the things that he's doing, and so that was what got me interested in what if you had a governor that looked at things from the business standpoint, could care less what people say, I can't be bought, all those kind of things. And I just thought there are a lot of problems that Georgia has and that we're going to have that I thought that would make sense. So let me tell you a couple of business things that I know about. So in 2021, I was called to, from a bankruptcy person that knew me, to look at an amoxicillin plant in Tennessee. And I didn't know it. This is penicillin and so forth. But it was the last one in the United States. I called a friend of mine who was part of the Trump administration that told me that in 2017, the Chinese threatened the United States on trade, and they said, you can't win a trade war with us. And they said, why? They said, because we provide 100% of your antibiotics right now, and nobody knew it. It scared everybody. So I bought this plant because I couldn't live with myself knowing that. I knew, you know, some of you guys understand this. There's some business investments you make that are bad, but you don't know they're bad until afterwards. This one I knew was bad. I put it in the, I call it venture philanthropy because I wanted to make sure that we worked. But anyway, so under Biden in 2021, I bought it in April 21, we turned the plant back over in September, and we changed the name of the company. All right, so they're saying they can't hear, so I'm going to touch the microphone, I guess. So anyway, so I wanted to change it to I thought it was a brilliant name. I didn't even ask marketing people. I call it U.S. Antibiotics. It took us to put that logo on the bottle, Biden administration, 7 months to get it approved. Just that. It had been the same exact place, same space, everything for 35 years. So roll forward, last September, we wanted to bring out a new medicine that, or another type of amoxicillin called amoxicillin XR. It means extended release. It helps, especially with children, they take less doses, and it helps the stomach and so forth. It has not been sold since 2008. My plant manager said they saw something on the FDA website where in September that they had a new fast track program and wanted to know if we would apply. And I said, yeah. We applied in October. It was approved in December. 60 days. I have dealt with FDA. They don't even return an email in 60 days. That's a business solution. Then I go forward and I meet with the chief of staff, who I think is the best person, the most unrecognized and best talent in the Trump administration, Susie Wiles. You may not know who she is because she stays in the background. But anyway, so I was talking to her about U.S. antibiotics, and I said, you know, we sell it for 7 cents a dose. I said, but you pay at least $1 or more per dose. And I said, we have all these 3 or 4 different levels of that. And she said, well, next week we're coming out with Trump RX. Have you heard of that? And I go, no, what's that? And she said, well, that's so we can sell for the manufacturer and go directly to the consumer. That's a business solution. And so it's those kind of things and what I saw happening. There's some of you guys old enough to remember a series called West Wing. You know how they were making decisions like that? Trump administration is making 4 times that much. They've made more decisions in the first 60 days than Biden had in his whole term. It is amazing what they're doing, and it's things that you don't know about. It's things to actually, you know, solve problems. He gets in front, he sees a problem, he gets in front of it. He doesn't wait till there's a political committee, you know, appointed and so forth like that. So, all right, so the last thing is kind of leading up. So 10 years ago, I was testifying at the state senate, and it's about foster care. At the end of my testimony, or testifying, the gentleman said, thank you, Mr. Jackson. There's not many CEOs comes down here, and we appreciate it. But, you know, I've been down here 17 years, and I've never even heard the words foster care. And I got to tell you, that just broke my heart. Because what it told me is something you know, and I know, that if you don't have money, you don't have access. There's a lot of nonprofits, including ours, and others that care about foster children. We all, churches and everybody, but they didn't have any access to the highest level of the state. So I decided that everything that I would do in Georgia would be for one purpose, and that's for foster care. To sometimes you can do more with your influence than your affluence, and so that's what everything I've given was for that purpose. The first time I met Governor Kemp, I said, when you think of me, think of foster care. That's all I'm going to do. And so we've been working on that ever since. But it just showed me there are people that don't have access, and they are not represented. And this population, along with other populations, are very needed. And those are the people that I want to represent, because I have seen downtown, there's a lot of good people, and then there's just people that want to, politicians just make statements, they want to make a point versus making a difference. They don't actually want to solve problems, they want to pass a bill and put it on their next election and so forth. I've seen it over and over. 3 out of 4 bills down there, only 10% of people actually read them before they vote. And if you look at them, they don't actually, there's no accountability, there's no follow-up and so forth. In business, you do that differently. I'm looking for what are the results and the outcome, because if you don't have an outcome, you can't make profit and pay payroll. And so in the political world, that just doesn't happen, and I'm here not to just talk about it. So let me, our success in our company is based under one principle, major principle, and that is others first. That is our mantra. Some of you know where that came from, but we believe that helping associates, nobody's ever worked for me, they work with me. And I treat our associates like volunteers. When you ask people to volunteer at church, you treat them differently when you're asking them to help you and so forth. Well, I believe everybody can work somewhere else. So we treat them, our customers, and our customers' customers. And we're trying to always figure, hey, it's not that you just need a doctor. What are you trying to accomplish with your hospital and so forth? But this other first mentality is one of the reasons that we're doing it. Now, by the way, I graduated from a Christian school called Great Atlanta Christian, and it was called Excellence in Christian Education. And I thought when I went there that this is going to be easy. I'm just going to beat up these Christian guys, when I'm playing ball or something like that. They believe that if you're a Christian, you are doing the best of everybody, and that's how we run our company. So very excellence at every level. Otherwise, you just don't get that. So from my standpoint as a governor, obviously, there's some platforms and things that we have to do. I'll just tell you very quickly, and then I'll tell you the last one, and then we'll go. Obviously, we've got to slash our income tax. These are hard-earned dollars that people have, and we don't need to have a dollar that you can't save for yourself, and we can do that. Now, I will tell you, I'm surprised about this next issue. I've had 6 widows come up to me in the last 3 weeks wherever I'm in Georgia, and they're telling me they lived there for the last 25 or 30 years, and they're going to have to sell their house in order to pay their property taxes. That is sinful to have that situation. And 2018 to 2023, cost of living went up 21%. We all lived it. Property taxes went up in Georgia 44% during that time, and that's ridiculous. And so anyway, I'm at least, my first term, I would at least freeze them, and then we have to figure out how to reduce them. I'm not for, just just turning over the counties and so forth like that from a tax base, because we got to do it through evolution versus revolution from my standpoint. The other thing is, if you cannot teach Christianity in school, I would not allow the religion of woke ideology to be taught in school. We need to get back to education and not have indoctrination. Parents ought to teach their children value, not anybody else. I will make Georgia the absolute worst place in the world to be a criminal. I am very old school law and order, and especially the criminal illegals. We can never have another Lake and Raleigh from that standpoint. But when I grew up in the projects, we'd have a 10-year-old friend of mine that would steal something, and they would come and arrest him and put him in juvenile home. Two things happened on that. Number one, he quit stealing. And number two, guess who else didn't steal? I saw what happened when you have consequences. And this idea of breaking the law and resisting arrest, what the governor in Minnesota did was sinful. When you ask your people to go break the law and resist arrest, you're putting them in danger, period. If I get pulled over this afternoon for speeding for a 26-year-old policeman, I'm going to say yes sir, no sir, because I believe you should respect police and do what they say. Now, on a personal basis, there's a population that I'm very concerned about. In foster care, we see a lot of bad things. We've had 3,000 kids come through our Christian nonprofit. 4 weeks ago, we had a three-year-old little girl that got raped. And we have right now pimps sexually trafficking young girls that we have to bring into foster care. I'm just going to tell you something. I'm going to put these people under the ground. No, I don't think hell's good enough for them, to be honest with you. Anyway, the bottom line is that I'm not, the first time that they asked me, my team asked me, why are you running for governor? And I scared them a little bit because I said, I'm not running for governor. I said, I'm running to be a good governor. There's a huge difference. I could care less about the title, period, because it's not, and then the last thing I'll say, and I'll just open it up to Q&A because I want to hear from you. The Atlanta Journal asked me, the last question they asked me was, what will people be surprised when they find out about you? And I said, I didn't even have to think about it. I had never been asked that question, but it's very easy for me, and that is, it's not about me. As a governor, it's not about me. It's about the people that don't have a voice that I want to fight for, and I'm not going to listen to people just because they give money and so forth, and we're going to actually have bills that actually make a difference. For instance, I'm going to tell people I'm going to veto any bill that doesn't have an expected impact and a follow-up to do that. Because people don't do what you expect, they do what you inspect. And so to me, passing the bill is not to go. Passing a bill that has impact is to go. And so I'll give you one last example of that. The aging out children of foster care is a terrible situation. 70% of the girls when they age out, I mean, if you can imagine being 18 and your parents telling you, don't ever call me again. Good luck. They don't have parents. They're in that situation. So 70% of the girls are pregnant in 18 months. 70% of the boys will be arrested in 2 years for survival crimes. The outcomes long term is just unbelievable. I wanted to pass a bill, which we did, called Fostering Success, and then I started a nonprofit, Roll Forward. Today, nonprofit based off of this bill that was passed and so forth. We provide 500 kids with a Christian life coach and all the tuition, room, board, transportation to help them, to give them an opportunity to make a difference in their life. That's the kind of programs that I want to put everywhere in Georgia. So with that, thank you for coming out, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. Yes, sir. I'll repeat it so that other people can.
I got a couple of things. Are you going to
That's right.
The other thing is, I hear what you people about certificate of need, because of your healthcare experience. Personally, I don't see a need for that. Let the consumer decide what he wants to do. And voter integrity, as far as mail-in ballots, and if there's a question about integrity of mail-in ballots, rather than recounting election results, what's your thought about doing a forensic examination of those things, just to make sure that the election is proper?
All right, 3 questions. Okay, let me make sure I get all of them. First of all, I do agree on term limits. People are down there to make money and help themselves. Their number one goal is to make a decision through the eyes of a voter or a donor. Almost every decision is, what will my donors be, and so forth. With term limits, and by the way, they have term limits in Florida. It works really well. Marco Rubio was he was like in his 20s as the Speaker of the House in Florida, but he can only stay there 2 years, or 2 to 4 years, or something like that. People that have those positions, it is putting themselves in a position for corruptness and for power. So I do believe in term limits. The second one he asked was about CONs for hospitals. CONs are certificate of need. If you want to build a hospital over here, you'd have to get permission for it and so forth like that. First of all, it is not a real free market situation when you have that. But we've been living under it for 30 years, or 40 years or something like that. So we'd have to be careful, especially in the cities and so forth like that, to change the rules on. In the rural areas, we ought to remove a lot of that so that we can have more rural health care and so forth like that. But my opponent basically threatened people if they did, he would not pass their bill unless they changed that law for him personally to have a hospital on his property. When I found that out, it made me sick, because that's not the kind of thing that we need to have people thinking about. They need to be thinking about people. On election integrity, what happened in 2020 was ridiculous. But Robert Woodruff, who did Coca-Cola, for some of you young people that may not remember, he had a saying that I adopted in business: if somebody steals from you, it's your fault. And so from my standpoint, we did a lot of things that was dumb during that time. Now, I think Brian Kemp did a great job and a great first step in 2021, and in making it easy to vote and hard to cheat. But in business, though, and this was what you were talking about, investigations, so forth like that. In our business, we believe in something called continuing quality improvement. You never stop looking at everything that you do to find out if you can do it better. So from an election integrity standpoint, it's ridiculous that anybody would feel like it wasn't fair. That, we all believe that Fulton County's been cheating for my whole life, So from my standpoint, I think we ought to have the special people, the GBI, to be looking at every claim. I totally support the FBI, because to me, truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it, it defends itself. So we need to know what the truth is. Now, I will tell you, I looked at this software myself just last week. I have a software business, so I actually know how to look at something. And forget all the other things related to Dominion that you hear and so forth like that. The software is 25 or 30 years old. It is terrible. As an example, I have the passcode. I can go into it myself. That's ridiculous that I actually know the passcode, the administrative passcode, to go into this software. Because I have software in healthcare, it's very, very complicated. All that. One of the things about this software is, like in the hospital, if you go in and say something, you put some data in about a patient, it says who you are. you have to, this system does not identify whoever does anything, so there's no audit of it. Technologically, it's crazy. So one of the things you're hearing, I think from Raffensperger, is that we can't afford the upgrade. It has security problems. You know why we can't afford the upgrade? Because of the technology. So as an example, there's 30,000 of these machines. They would have to go to each machine to upgrade it. When's the last time you had somebody upgraded your iPhone or your iPad and all that kind of stuff? It just shows up, right? And it does it. That technology is just terrible. We have to replace it. Now, personally, if American Express was in control of this, I think we'd all feel a little bit comfortable, especially on our Medicaid fraud and so some of these other things. So I will tell you, it's my perception that the state of Georgia at every department is probably 25 years behind on IT. I would look at the budget in two ways. One is what I call recurring expenses, just operating, payroll, all that. Then I would have a budget line for investment expenses. That's what we do in business. When we make an investment, we're expecting an ROI return. I would put a big investment in IT for the state of Georgia because it will lower our costs and streamline it and be more responsive to our constituents and so forth like that. I'll give you an example. In foster care, the average, I learned this in healthcare, by the way, the length of stay is what costs money. So if you can go from 5 days in the hospital to 4, it saves money. So I applied this principle, industrial engineering, to foster care. The average child is 18 months in care. 9 months of that is waiting on a judge. If we solve just that problem, that didn't include the IT and infrastructure that we could improve. If we solved that problem alone, it would save $300 million a year for the state of Georgia, and it would be better for the kids to not be in foster homes for years and years and so forth, and we can solve things like that. So it's looking at but by the way, I like the concept of DODs. The idea of reviewing every department for what's its objective, is it accomplishing it, and how well is it doing, what efficiencies can we have, and then hold people accountable for those results. Trump is doing that everywhere in the whole United States at departments and so forth. So I like that idea. And then you continue it every year. You know, people don't do what you expect, they do what you inspect. And that's just management 101. So, all right, other questions?
Welcome to your community. This is your hometown. This is Walton Entertainment. This is where you can hear from the community and those making a difference. We explore topics, local festivals, arts and entertainment, and local news. For this program and much more, visit us online at yourlocalstream.com. That's yourlocalstream.com.